Hello. Tonight we are going to dissect the question, what shapes identity? So, we have a hard task ahead of us. Where should we begin? I think we can start by figuring out what our identities what our identity is. Like, if you don't know what your identity is, this is how I was able to figure it out in my own life. I think our identity and our self-concept are really what manifests into reality. Like, so our identity is how we see ourselves and what we value. And if you don't know what your identity is, just look at your life. Just look at how your life looks like right now, what you spend most of your time doing, what you struggle with, what you're good at. And that's going to help you define what your identity is and what's important to you. And by doing this, you also can see pretty easily what is holding you back, what your subconscious thoughts are, what your hang-ups are. We all have these things, right? And all of these components together, our thoughts, our predominant way of thinking, our emotions, our insecurities, our fears, all of these things wrap up into a nice little bowl and create our identity. And our identity gets is what gets projected out into our lives. So if you are trying to figure out what somebody's identity is based on, just look at their life and look how they live their life and what they accept as what they're okay with in their life, and that's probably gonna tell you a lot about who they are and how they identify, what their identity is based on, and so on. And so a lot of people, I wanted to mention this because a lot of people think that affirmations are what shape our reality, or affirmations are what manifests, or meditations are what manifests, or visualization is what manifests. I used to think this too for a really long time, but now I don't think that's true anymore. Now I think that all of these things that are mentioned are just techniques, right? The affirmations, the scripting, the visualizing, the meditations, the prayers, the journaling. These are all just techniques that we do. And the technique is just a tool, right? Like, a tool cannot manifest anything in of itself, but the tool can change the way that you see yourself and change your identity. If you do it consistently for a long time, if you use that technique consistently for an extended period of time, and you get to a point where you believe it deeply that what you're saying is true, then that thing is going to become a part of your identity and a part of who you are and a part of how you see yourself. And that is what gets manifested. And so that's why there's a little bit of a delay when it comes to reality creation, in my opinion, is because this transfer has to take place from the technique itself into our identity, and then from the identity into our subconscious mind, and from the subconscious mind into reality. So there's a 3-step process, and that's why sometimes it can take a second. And so, what shapes identity? Let's go back to our initial question. How can we shape our identity? There's many ways to do this. One of the ways is by using these tools that I just mentioned. That's an inside out way to change your identity. So actually, let me go back. There's two ways that you can shape your identity. One is like from the inside out, and the other way is from the outside in, right? When it comes to shaping our identities from the inside out, the tools that I just mentioned are excellent ways to do this, and they all work. There isn't one technique or one tool that's better than the others, in my opinion. I feel like they all work. And these tools, again, are meditating. Like I do Joe Dispenza meditations every day, and they are absolutely like the best meditations out there. There's nothing better than his. No one's doing meditations better than he is, in my opinion. And so, like, that's one way of shaping your identity from the inside out. Another way that's popular is affirming, right? Like saying the same sentence over and over and over again. That's a great way to shape your identity. The other one is visualizing your desire or visualizing your goal, right? Another one is prayer and asking God for, like, connecting to a higher power and praying for your desire and like accessing it and connecting to that desire through prayer. And like scripting, I don't know, there's a lot of different ways to do this, journaling, etc. So those are a few ways that you can shape your identity from the inside out. Now let's talk about how we can shape our identities from the outside in. And this involves changing your behavior. Like this involves, like, an example of this would be like taking action on something before you feel ready, or like taking action consistently on something even though like it's not reality yet, right? Like that's what I did when I was in the process of changing my identity to start to see myself as a writer. I approached it from the outside in. I wasn't doing any meditations or any affirmations at that time, and I just changed my identity, and I started to see myself as a writer by like approaching it from the outside in, by showing up every day and having a writing session, a mandatory writing session every single day. Like I forced myself to sit down and write something for at least 20 minutes every single day. And I did it religiously, and I ended up publishing. I've already published 2 books using this technique, and I'm working on a 3rd. And now that identity is part of my I am. Like I see myself as a writer, and I can say confidently that I am a writer without it feeling like untrue. But it did feel untrue for a long time, and the process of writing, like having a writing session and a journaling session, I did morning pages every day, and I did a writing session every day, and that is how I changed my identity to see myself as a writer, by like taking action and approaching it from the outside coming in. I think a combination of the two is probably like the fastest way to change your identity. Like if you work in the unseen and you, like, let's say you meditate, right? You meditate, you do your affirmations, you visualize, but then you also keep one foot in reality and you also take massive action towards your goal. Like that's going to manifest like crazy because you're approaching your desired identity from like multiple different angles. And when you're visualizing, you're shaping your identity. Then you're affirming, you're shaping your identity, let's say as a writer. When you're writing every day, you shape your identity as a writer. When you're affirming, you're shaping your identity as a writer. When you're doing your morning pages, you shape your identity as a writer. And you approach it, if you approach it from like all of these angles, both from the inside out and from the outside in, that is going to shape your identity as a writer. And you will see yourself as that thing a lot faster than if you only did it, like if you only worked in the unseen or if you only worked in the seen. And so I think that if you're unhappy with how your life looks right now, I think the fastest way to change it is to change your identity. Is to change your I am. And you can do so in a relatively short period of time. Like, honestly, if you are focused and you are committed and you are working both with the seen and the unseen on your desired identity, I think that you can change your life in a relatively short period of time, but you have to be really serious about it and you have to show up for yourself. And so if that's you, if there's a part of your I am or a part of your identity that you are not super happy about, I think that this video should be really great news because I have given you a lot of actionable steps that you can start taking today. But that requires first knowing what you want your identity to be and what you want your I am to be. And so, yeah, I think identity change is definitely possible for anybody at any time, no matter who you are, no matter what you've been through, no matter how old you are. Like, it's never too late. You can use these techniques if you're 18 or if you're 80. It works for everybody in the same way. And so if this topic about identity and shaping your identity has been interesting to you, then I would highly recommend that you read my new book. It's called Mastering the Middle. And in this book, I go into much deeper insights and how-tos on identity change and how to get your dream life as soon as possible. And if you're interested in purchasing my book, I will leave the link in the description box below. And thank you so much for watching this video.